Hey viewers, glad you could return back for another episode of Dan with the Plan. Today I wanted to get into sort of my passion, my hobby. This one has been with me for a long time. I'll give you a little bit of history, but I'm going to use an old school where I'm going to do a slideshow here on my computer, on my laptop, and I'm going to use my phone to do it, to video this. So when I was a young teenager, I would say about 14 or so, 14, 15 years old, that's when it really occurred to me that working out, being proactive as far as working out, building muscle, was going to be a transformative a hobby, I guess, devotional pursuit. My brother was definitely the catalyst. I remember he's 2.5 years older than I, and he came somehow, I don't remember how, but he was, one day all of a sudden there was a box of weights and barbell, dumbbell. It was the plastic weights at that time. So I guess he was probably 16 and a half, maybe 17, but he started lifting weights, and I saw what building muscle was doing for him. So it interested me. I tried it in the beginning. I was pretty bad at it. It didn't really bite me at first, I'll be honest. But I remember, watching him, and one day it just hit me. I was, I think, about 15 years old. And man, I was just getting the, teenage gut pudgy, wasn't liking it as far as how I looked. And I remember shooting some hoops, playing some basketball outside by myself, just shooting the ball. And I looked down, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this. 15 years old, this is not going to be good for me, going through school and, whatever, dating, all that stuff. So just wasn't good. Self-esteem wasn't there. So that was the moment. That was the epiphany moment for me. So to speed that process up, some of you may or may not know who he is, but his name is Chris Aceto. And I met him at Springfield College. He was, I think, about 2 years ahead of me when I was there. I was there as a freshman. But anyway, he's called the technician. So if anybody knows him now in the sport of bodybuilding, he's referred to as the technician. And he's the gentleman that, coach, if you will, that helps get the Mr. O, the Mr. Olympias in top shape. So he was, he's been a part of their coaching, their diet, make sure they're right where they want to be in terms of the best physical, state they can be in during the Mr. O competition. But when I knew him, he was still bodybuilding. So, just the nicest guy, very welcoming. He was always, you could easily walk through his door, talk to him. I was on the same floor, so I used to stop in. We used to chat. We hung out a little bit. We lost touch when I left that college, but shortly after, I guess it really opened up. The world really opened up for him, and that was great to hear. I do check things out with Chris Aceto on YouTube. But anyway, so I met at Springfield College. I met some guys that were, that was a college where it was very athletic, sport orientated. That's where basketball was invented with Naismith. So there was a lot of bodybuilders there. There were a lot of guys like Chris Aceto. They didn't go, I don't think, as far as he did, as far as formal competition, but they knew what they were doing. And one guy came, he moved out from California, just the old school Venice, old school bodybuilding type stuff, is what, he was about. Really a blonde haired guy. He served in the Marine Corps. He was going back to school. His name was Sean. And he saw me work out in the gym. Now, I wasn't anybody, really. I had an okay physique, but he saw my work ethic. So he asked me, he goes, I need a lifting partner. I need someone who's reliable, but I had been kind of watching how things are evolving for you. I notice you're in here all the time. You're in here when I'm in here. But I think, he said, I think I can bring you to that next level as far as bulking up goes. And I said, yeah, sounds good to me. So we connected, and I finished out my 1 year there with, training with him with some great gains, and very thankful for all that they did to kind of help, get me going. So then speeding my time up to kind of where we're going to look here. But I married young, had a family, very busy, held 3 jobs. So working out in the gym all the time was definitely not something I was able to do. Well, to cut right to the chase, I kind of fell apart. I wasn't that guy at 19, 20, 21 anymore. And at 29, 30 years old, I was about as, I definitely wouldn't want to revisit that time frame in my life. It just wasn't good, wasn't healthy. And I remember it was a blizzard in Massachusetts, and I got up, I was living there at the time, and I woke up, and, just really, it was weighing on my heart. I'm like, I got to do something. And I remember that blizzard. I said, well, if I can go outside and run in this blizzard, then I can do this. I can make this a habit again. I know what I've done before. I know what I used to do. I know what I used to accomplish. I'm nowhere near where I used to be, but I had the right mindset then, right? I had that right, mentality, and someone who was just into it and finally woke up back at age 15. Well, I needed to wake up again at age, 31, 32. So I did start my journey back, but it wasn't really until like hitting it around, I would say, correctly, right? Really in the gym again, correctly, doing things right, until I was about 40, starting at about 45. So what pictures you're looking at here, I'm 50 years old here. And so the pictures we're going to go through are during that time. So as I said, I was hitting it about 45, and we'll see a picture. I go by DM Coaching. If you guys are interested in anything that, I might bring to the table for you, I'd be more than willing to help. But I go by DM Coaching as far as my coaching business, if you will. So here I am, before obviously the first picture I showed you where I was more, leaned out and cut up. So I'm a 6'3" guy. That's my frame. Okay. I'm all natural, never, ever took any illegal substance whatsoever, any enhancement, other than just what you can buy over the counter at GNC, whey protein, creatine. I take DHEA supplement, tablets that you can get at Walmart, multivitamin, stuff like that, some other amino acids, but, outside of that, that's pretty much what I've stayed with, and of course, just my eating. So you can see here the measurement of the arm, and for a natural guy, especially a 6'3", long arm wingspan, most bodybuilders that are, big, generally are going to be 6 feet or less. You have a few outliers who are 6'1", maybe 6'2", not a lot of 6'3". So, and especially someone who's all natural. I could point to Hulk Hogan, who I've met, who is about a little bit taller than me, but obviously I doubt he was all natural. I can't say for sure, but doubtful. So he had 20 something plus arms. But anyway, this is me, all natural, in my mid to late 40s, and I have over a 20-inch arm flexed, you could see there. So that's pretty cool, right? Know how to do it, obviously I took that knowledge that I learned back in old school days, and I made it work. So the next one is, so legs is important. I like to show this because it can't all be about the upper body, and this is the mistake a lot of physique or bodybuilders make. They focus on upper body, and they kind of neglect the legs, the lower body. They don't get to the optimal size that they really should to make it work, top and bottom. So I like to save this picture and show it so that everyone sees the amount of work it takes to get the upper body coinciding with the lower body. It takes, as you guys can imagine, it takes a huge amount of effort to do that, okay? This is when I got into the keto lifestyle. I still had size. the upper left picture is when I got the keto flu. I was at work. I felt like, like literally like you have the flu, like a Mack truck hit you. I remember I was shaking like the flu. I had to cover myself in a blanket. People were walking by going, "What's the matter?" I said, "Well, I think I'm in ketosis." So I did have a reaction to it, but that's kind of about the time. That was my, pictures of me then when I just started going into keto, still had size there. So this is, I'm going to get kind of quickly jump to it, but this is through keto, a couple years of it, also intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting, hard dry fasting. You guys saw me if you were in tuning into my earlier days when I was hard dry fasting at work. I was working and still do it. I would bring videos of that to you guys live. So anyway, that's kind of where we got, right? Got me leaned out, still have muscle though, right? Didn't lose that. This is now I'm back in the gym, just trying to, after leaning out so much, I'll show you where I got to here in a second, but definitely maintain muscle mass through this. So people that say, if you don't eat 8 meals a day or 6 meals a day or whatever, you'll lose muscle mass. You can show them this video. It's not true at all. I went 24 hours without food, 48 hours without food, 70 something hours without food. I went 5 days without food and water. So obviously you still see the muscle mass here. And there's a reason why. I'll save that for another video. The lat spread, definitely looking good there, middle of the back, everything. This is just starting kind of bulking up a little bit here. Chest development, upper body, arms, focus on shoulders, arms, upper body, upper chest. And again, not neglecting the legs, that's important. So, bulking back up again, but focusing still on both upper body and lower body. But there's definitely, more of sort of still in the kind of a cut, but back in the gym phase. I'll tell you what weight I got. So I started this at about 255 when I was at that 20-inch arm picture. We got some obliques, we got abs, which I didn't have at 255 with the 20-inch arms. Good, the chest development, shoulders, good shot there. So that was the lowest I got. I got down to 185. So went from 255 to 285. But you can see there is proof that was the weigh-in. This was a reflection off my car, but I thought it came out good. This is when I was doing some outside work, doing some outside training. There's a good area over here where I live that I would go to get some training in. Pretty much a lot of push-ups, dips, jumps, lunges, some dumbbell work. But you can see here, leaned out, defined for sure. That's probably a good one in the gym of being defined. But again, you still have muscle, musculature, but leaned out. And this again is from what I, have discovered through ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting. There's a lot of health benefits I can get into, and I'll save that for another video. But at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding as far as the results and the physique, right? I didn't use drugs. I didn't use what most people would to go from, bulked up down to leaned out and also have a decent, muscular physique. You know what I mean? Most people, when they lose that much weight, you don't see too much of the muscle. They lose a lot of muscle, I should say. So there you go. It's a little tour of what I've done here in the last few years, particularly. But all this again is I'm a middle-aged. I'm 51, going to be 52 in March. So these are pictures of me in my 50s, and when I was that 20-inch arm guy, I was about 40. I think when I hit that, I was about 47 or so, 47, 40. I want to say about 47 years old, and I hit over 20-inch arms for the first time in my life. So anything's possible. But yeah, if you guys are going to hit me up in the comments, if you guys are interested as far as what I know, if you might want to gain some coaching services or what have you, or pass it on to someone you know that might benefit from maybe what I can do for them, definitely hit me up in the comments and we can kind of discuss it from there. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.